Most new phones are very predictable nowadays. You know they're going to be a slab most likely made of glass, and the company behind it would probably try to sell you on it by including a huge camera module. Phones have been basically perfect in terms of software features for a while now, so there's no surprises there either, just like in the design department. Have we reached peak smartphone? Is this its final form? A magic rectangle that can do great things besides really surprise us with anything new anymore? Well, a few companies tried to break the mold and either failed or never made it big. Let's take a look at some examples so we can appreciate what Samsung managed to accomplish with its foldables. It's very difficult for a company, even a highly profitable one, like say Microsoft, to break the mold with something new, even if it wanted to. iPhone and Android are dominant, so a new phone operating system like Windows Phone didn't stand a chance, and slab designs are what the majority of consumers expect and are used to, so trying to sell an extravagant new design, say a dual display phone, is usually a guaranteed financial flop for a company, should it even be brave enough to attempt it. But somehow Samsung managed to do what many others failed to. Foldable phone shipments rose 300% just last year, and that's in great part thanks to Samsung's efforts to develop better and better Galaxy Z Fold and Z Flip phones annually, and its huge investments into aggressively marketing them. It would appear that it all worked out for Samsung. The risk was worth it, the juice was worth the squeeze. The upcoming Galaxy Z Fold 4 and Galaxy Z Flip 4 would likely do well and impress us even more than their predecessor did. But where there's a story of success, what we don't usually see is the countless other stories of failure. Much more often than not, things don't work out for a business that's taking a risk, and not necessarily because of incompetence, but due to timing, luck, and so many other factors. Let's look at example number 1. You may have heard of the Microsoft Surface Duo. It had a bit of a rocky launch back in late 2020 due to its buggy and in some cases unintuitive software, but surprisingly Microsoft didn't give up on it as fast as I expected. Because in my experience, Microsoft gives up on things pretty quickly if they don't immediately result in profits, but not the Microsoft Surface Duo. It actually received a successor in 2021, the Duo 2, which tried to remedy the first Duo's issues. Its objectively small number of users were mainly unhappy with the camera quality being subpar and, as we mentioned, the software being buggy. So, a successor, huh? With ambitions to improve. Does that mean Microsoft is ready and willing to lose money on this project for a few years until it starts picking up like Samsung did with foldables? And we can't be sure whether Microsoft will follow that example and make its sleek dual-screen Android phone a big deal. We know this. Recently, a budget version of the Duo 2, the Surface Duo Lite, was reportedly cancelled, pretty much before the world even knew about it. Now, will a mid-range, affordable dual display phone sounds to me like a great product worth making? Apparently Microsoft sees things differently, and even worse, this might be a sign that the Windows and Xbox giant is losing faith in the Duo as a whole. Does that mean there won't be a Surface Duo 3? We'll lose the only current dual display phone that was sort of on the market? Well, things aren't looking great right now, but there's nothing official to suggest a cancellation. The Surface Duo 3 might be announced this year or delayed for next year, unless it really gets unceremoniously cancelled. I truly want this one to succeed, but then again I wanted Windows Phone and Nokia Lumia to succeed, and we all know what happened there. Number 2. The LG Rollable. LG rolled out of the smartphone market, so this rollable phone never made it. Just another tragic story that got us so excited and waiting in anticipation for the next big thing. For about 2 years before LG left the smartphone market, its then upcoming rollable phone periodically made the news. And it wasn't just news based on rumors and leaks. LG itself showcased the thing near the end. It was looking to be an almost complete product. It got so close to release. Unlike Microsoft's dual-screen phone we talked about earlier, the LG Rollable would have gotten, as the name so aptly suggests, a single rollable display. The phone would have a traditional form factor at first, but with the press of a switch, its display would unroll and expand, turning this phone into a tablet. This was the third piece of the puzzle. We have dual display phones, we have foldables, and we could have had rollables. In fact, many other smartphone makers were reportedly toying with the idea of making a rollable phone, but after LG's demise it appears they all gave up on that idea. Would another company be brave and bold enough to revive it? Probably not, by the looks of things. Number 3. The foldable Motorola Razr. This phone is still kicking, but let's be honest, it's not doing great. Motorola was, in fact, ahead of the game, beating Samsung's 2020 release of the first Galaxy Z Flip by releasing the Motorola Razr in 2019. And Moto actually had a legacy to fall back on with its folding phone. It was built to resemble the good old original Razr clamshell phone from 2003. Moto's new foldable screen Razr has a lip, a razor thin build, and is more angular than the Z Fold, making it more edgy in general, thus possibly appealing to a smaller group of people because of it. But that's what I loved about it. It was a competitor to the Z Flip that wasn't just a clone. It was not only first to release, but it was different in its design language, and with an actual prominent legacy behind it. And Moto followed it with the Motorola Razr 2020. We were pretty harsh on it in our review, deservingly so, calling out its many shortcomings for what was a pretty steep price of $1,400. Those most notably included its poor performance, plasticky feel in the hand, and its creaky hinge, which wasn't too reassuring for the thing's longevity. But still, it had character, it had potential, and while it's not doing too well in terms of sales and taking over the mainstream like Samsung's foldables are, we're happy to report that the Motorola Razr 3 is in the works. In fact, Moto recently showed it off in a sleek, not too revealing trailer, and even more recently it was announced that the Razr 3 would be unveiled on August 2nd. So very soon. And while its price is rumored to have dropped to around $1,150, Moto should definitely consider matching the Samsung Z Flip 4's reportedly much cheaper $900 starting price in order to stand a reasonable chance. We'll see what happens, but for now Moto's foldable flip phone isn't shaping up to become a viable competitor to what Samsung is offering, just a more niche alternative, particularly for fans of the original 2003 Razr. In any case, thank goodness Moto isn't giving up on it. Number 4. The Google Pixel Fold. Even Google couldn't do what Samsung could. Google's own long-awaited folding smartphone is still on ice, the fabled Google Pixel Fold, or perhaps the Google Passport, Google Logbook, or Google Pixel Notepad. This device has been through so many reported revisions, delays, cancellations, name changes, and redesigns that we basically don't know anything concrete about it, other than the fact that it may have been ultimately cancelled. And why did Google supposedly cancel it? Obviously not because a huge Goliath like the search engine giant can't spare the money needed for research and development for a foldable phone, but get this, because of Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold. The Z Fold is just so good, supposedly Google just decided that it could not compete. So why bother, right? And we can understand that logic. After all, Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold 3 and the upcoming Z Fold 4 are the results of generational updates, now with the most unobtrusive crease, the strongest flexible AMOLED displays, plus tons of fantastic One UI software features, like the ability to run 3 apps at a time, with even more in Windows, and my favorite, the DeX desktop mode. The Galaxy Z Fold series even have their own S Pen stylus now, made especially for their flexible folding displays. How could Google possibly challenge all that from its first attempt at a folding phone? But by that logic, how could anyone? In my humble opinion, Google could have just targeted a different demographic, people who are looking for budget foldables. Just make a reasonably priced and simpler foldable, one that would greatly undercut the Galaxy Z Fold, and with good distribution, it could have potentially sold even better from the get-go. In any case, we're yet to see what Google's next move would be when it comes to foldables, hopefully not nothing, because we can always use the extra competition, since that drives the prices down and innovations forward. But enough talking about unique phones that didn't really make it, and let's look forward to Samsung's upcoming foldables, the ones that basically not only dominate the folding market, but made it what it is today. Samsung's next Galaxy Z Fold phone, along with the Z Flip 4, are to be unveiled pretty soon, on August 10th, 2022, and will likely be released the following week. By most reports, the Galaxy Z Fold 4 will remain at a hefty price of around $1,800, but for that wad of cash you'll be getting the peak of Android smartphones, the most suitable phone for the Android power user. Reportedly with up to half a terabyte of storage space, driven by the flagship Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 chip and at least 12 GB of RAM, it'll be the ultimate multitasking phone. Not to mention one that offers the amazing privilege of watching content on a tablet that was just a smartphone in your pocket 2 seconds ago. I've personally always disliked switching between several different devices, like a phone and a tablet, and having to sync files and accounts across them all. So this idea of one smartphone that can also be your tablet, and with Samsung DeX even your desktop PC, is crazy appealing. Fold users love the multitasking capability of a screen that doubles in size, so they can be more efficient and get things done faster, said recently Summit mobile experience business head Dr. Ro. And he's spot on, right on the money. This is the target demographic of the Galaxy Z Fold 4, and clearly it's not a small one. Although if we compare Z Fold sales to the Z Flip, we will find that this one somewhat predictably appeals to a vastly larger demographic. The Galaxy Z Flip 4, a trendsetter, the flip phone of the modern age for those who wish to stand out. According to Dr. Ro, 70% of Galaxy Z foldable phone buyers voted with their own money and picked the Galaxy Z Flip, while the remaining 30 chose the Z Fold. This shows us something we already kind of knew. While the Z Fold is perfect for a more niche Android power user demographic, the Galaxy Z Flip is the one for the masses. And not just because it's very cute and appealing to a much broader number of casual phone users, but also because it's vastly more affordable than the Z Fold. While the upcoming Z Fold 4 is, as we mentioned, likely to cost around $1,800, the Galaxy Z Flip 4 might be as within reach as $900. Yep, what's normally a pretty average flagship phone price would be able to get you the trendiest foldable phone very soon. And just like Samsung knows its audience when it comes to the Galaxy Z Fold, it's very well aware who the Z Flip appeals to. And that is exactly why we recently heard that the Z Flip 4's Bespoke Edition will offer up to 1,000 color combination options. That means all the color plates anyone may ever want could be purchased and snapped onto both its top and bottom side to make for a truly unique, customized and eye-catching foldable flip phone. A modern flip phone with a cutting-edge foldable display that's just your own. So after all that talk about failure and success, what do you think? Are you ready to give foldables a chance? Have you ever used a foldable, and was it a good or a bad experience? Also, tell us how you feel about the upcoming Galaxy foldables. Are you sold on them? Or would you rather wait for more competition to arrive, driving those prices down a bit? Stay tuned to PhoneArena for more updates on the Galaxy Z Fold 4 and Z Flip 4. Hit the subscribe button here if you haven't, and I'll see you next time.